does growing mean to you? I've been asking myself this question because I've been thinking about growth and the journey that we're all on in growing so often, especially lately, because right now it's a full moon, and it's a full moon in Sagittarius, which always brings about so much growth and intense feelings and the process of letting go. And I was thinking about growth. I want to know what growth means to you. It feels like growth is a collective becoming and unbecoming. I've been thinking about the metaphor that a lot of us like to use for growth, starting as a seed and growing the roots, and then suddenly we're blossoming. We're bearing fruit. And I love this metaphor, but I was in the shower and I was looking at my plant, and I suddenly had this thought about, well, what happens when you grow, you reach the point of blossoming and you start to bear fruit, and then suddenly you become a seed again, because the fruit, it spreads its seeds, and that's how you become another plant. You become another lemon tree, you become another blackberry plant, a bush. You grow, you grow, you grow, but then you reach the point where it's time to shed. And I think that's the part that has been ruminating in my mind, because what happens when you reach the peak is that you have to shed and you have to unbecome, and then suddenly you're a seed again. You're a little seedling, you're back in the earth, and everything is so new. You have no roots yet. You're just a seed, and it takes time. And I think when we all reach this point of growth, when we blossom and we bear fruit, you feel like you're on the top of the world. You feel so full and you feel healed, and you're powerful because you are extending that fullness. You're extending the healing and the love that you have cultivated. But then for you to fall back into the seedling, it's difficult. And I think this is the part of the metaphor that not a lot of us are talking about. This is the part of the image that we don't really see, but because we are human beings and we have the power to become the tree that bears fruit, we are also the seed that falls back into the earth. And it's this ebb and flow. Life is not one continuous growth where suddenly at the end you bear fruit and then you die. We are constantly switching between the mode of the tree that bears fruit and back to the seed. And you don't even know when it's going to happen, but it's a difficult switch. That's what I've found for me, is that it's a difficult switch to be the tree versus the seed. Because I get attached. I get attached to whatever point that I'm at in life. Specifically being attached to the point in life where I feel the most growth and I feel healed and I feel better. But then I become the seed again, and I have to unlearn, and I have to welcome an unknowing back into my life. I have to look at everything with new eyes again, and it's not always easy being the seed. It's really difficult. It's like being born again. But just as much as it's difficult, it's a beautiful, beautiful new beginning. Because that means that you get the chance to go back to the roots. You get to grow your roots again. And you learn something completely different on this journey versus the last. But at the same time, you know that it's inside of you to become every infinite possibility that's within you. And you'll bear fruit again. And I think once I really let this image sink into my mind, it made me feel a lot better about growing and this idea of growth and what growing means to me. Because it's not linear and it's not congruent, and at any moment I can switch from being the tree to being the seed, to the roots, to the leaves, to the fruit. It's the constant flow. And if you don't get too attached to any part of it, you can flow. You can flow back and forth, and you can feel the emotions and the intensity of everything without anything feeling too heavy because you're not attached to it. And I think that is the epitome of what growth is. At least in this moment, to me, that is what growing is. That is what growth looks like to me. Just sitting with these thoughts, just recognizing that growing is always an ongoing process. We are always becoming and unbecoming. We're never not growing. That's what really gets me, is that in every single second of being, we are growing. Even though I could wake up one day and feel the exact same as I did yesterday, I've still grown. I journal a lot. I journal probably at least once a day, but usually it's 2 to 3 times. And on a really heavy day, I'll probably journal up to 6 times. I generally journal a lot. And I notice, depending on the time of the day, I've grown by the end. From the beginning of the day, the thoughts that I had at the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, the end of the day, depending on which journal I'm in, I've grown. And it hasn't even been a full day. That's how often we are constantly growing and going through the process of being. That's why I think journaling is such a powerful tool that can help us really understand what it is that we're doing here. It really helps me to move from the viewpoint of me living my life versus the viewpoint of the observer watching me live my life. And when you look at it from an observant standpoint, you are constantly growing. Constantly. Growing to me, some days it looks like I'm healing, and it looks like I'm standing in the sun, soaking everything in and progressing myself into a new version, a new reality of where I want to be. And then other days, it looks like me sitting in bed, wondering how the hell I got there and how I'm going to go about my day. And I don't know, everything is one continuous moment. I can't even really pinpoint, when did I become this person? When did this change happen? I think when we look at life that way, you can start to understand that everything that you are is a collective of everything that you are and everything that you've been through. You can't really pinpoint one moment from another because everything is so continuous. In every moment you are expanding. Your energy is changing and flowing. When I stop resisting the change, and I stop resisting becoming the tree and blossoming and then falling back into the earth and being the seedling again, when I stop resisting that, it's good. It's really good. You feel the flow. You feel the flow of life. And it's so much easier to go about this world. Even though you're probably going to be back in those moments wondering, how is it that I felt so good on this day and now I'm here in this moment and everything feels like it's crashing down? But that's what we're here for. It's beautiful. It's scary. It's hard. But I wouldn't want to be stagnant. You'd be lifeless, first of all, but you wouldn't get the chance to learn and unlearn and learn again and unlearn. That's what's really cool about being a human, is we get this opportunity. We get the opportunity to be the tree, to be the sky, to be the birds, the ocean, the moon, the sun, everything all at once. And we get to feel the intensity of life as it changes and shifts. We get to go through the seasons of life and the seasons of ourselves And we get to grow, and each moment we get to experience everything in a new light. Whether it's good or it's bad, it just is. And that's growth. That's growth to me. So what does it look like to you? What does growth mean to you? What does it look like to you? I want to know, because it'll help me understand growing, and I'm always looking for new answers, and I'm always learning. So if you want to go comment what growing means to you, you can do so on the Instagram. It's just breatheinto_. Just go comment under the post for this episode and tell me what growing means to you. And in the meantime, just let it flow. So let's breathe into that. Breathe into growing, everyone. Breathe into growing. Take a deep breath in. And exhale.